Welcome back everybody to another episode of Fossils and Archaeology, and I hope you liked that little intro. I put a bit of time in doing the back ramp to the lab and flattening this area out, doing some terraforming. But I wanted to expedite the process today of getting our world feeling more like a world. Dippy's in the lab, and he needs an enclosure fast before he outgrows the bay. So, let's get down and see if we can make a start on our theme park, feeling like a theme park, shall we? So where is Dippy going to go? Well, I thought I'd show you the walk down, right? We've got our lab here, and down out the front door, we've got the little town over here, near the entrance of our valley, where the park will, I guess, start. This will be the front access of the park. Sorry for the noise. Those things must be destroyed. I have an idea. I've had it drawn on paper for a while. I've actually got an idea for the opening of the park as well, which I've mocked up in paint. I guess that can go on the screen now, actually. And with that, you can kind of see what we're hoping to do. To make things fun, we obviously need to start with an enclosure. But I don't want to just build an enclosure and then have to change it down the line and move it and relocate it, and that's just going to be a right old pain. Basically, my plan today is to build Dippy's enclosure, and then for the next episode, we'll build the front wall of the park, and then expand from there and fill out the park. Which I think should let everything lead into itself quite nicely. So, what do we need to do? We have this little town here. You know what I should do? I should actually connect to the waypoint over here, so that way I can teleport back and forth, because it would be very, very useful to be able to do that. Freaky grass blocks. This is not the Croslomer. We are, this is the destination. I want to rename this to Park Entrance. Now, eventually this village will go. It'll probably get replaced with something similar. It'll be like a plaza, I'm thinking. With a monorail station up here, pretty much where that iron golem is, that'll shoot you out around the backside of the park. But we need to work out where Dippy's going. So to make that nice and easy, what we want to do is basically I've earmarked something that I can use as a reference point. This house here basically is going to be where the park spills out from. It won't be a house, it'll be replaced with a bit of path. But if we just clear some of this out, then we'll be able to see, some hay bales, that's great. Let's put that there. And another one. The path will basically run in the 4 cardinal directions in line with this house. You can see it'll just get down through the next side of the valley. If we follow this path down here, we will be clear of this mountain, but still be able to have some buildings in front of it if we want to. And if we follow this way, we are kind of right down this stretch of land that the river is on either side of. And pretty central to the entrance. So I think it's a good pick. The catch is I need to do a heck of a lot of terraforming, both leveling this out a little bit and filling in all this water. I forgot to bring my dirt, and I'm out of range for my... I've actually left it on charge in the lab. It's a bit inconvenient. So, what do we got to do? Well, first and foremost, let's get this path earmarked, shall we? Oh my god, villagers in a hole. Well, these guys probably need to be saved before they all get eaten and crunched up by zombies. Alright, so looking at my plan on the other monitor, I can see that we probably... Look, we could spend all day today just getting the paths right. And as much as I love doing that, as much as I'd love to make a video doing that, I've learned in the past that people don't want to watch me do that. So, I've come up with a new path design. Let's show that off. So we don't have the Tinker's Construct mod this time, which means we don't have our speedy brownstone. And just purely looking at textures, I found a block that I like. If we ignore the fact that it is labeled as planks, I think you'll realize that this is actually a really nice block for a footpath. And a theme park as well, I think. So, what we want to do is I think we want them actually level with the top of this. Looks to be pretty average across the biome. And we want, we want the path to be higher more so than lower, so that we can look down into enclosures. So let's just run it 3 wide. 1. Is that lined up? That is lined up. 1, 2, 3. This here is going to be our path block. What do we think? Looks a bit like bricks, doesn't it? Or terracotta, which I think is quite nice. The other idea I've got is that potentially we could be framing it in like so. I'm not 100% on this yet, but I'm going to leave it for you guys to put your inputs in. But I quite like this. I think this looks really nice. So I'm going to run with it like this for now. The other thing we need to consider is how we want to try and provide light. We could just cheese it and use the lighting wand, but does that have durability? It does. We don't necessarily want to lean so far into it, I guess, that we're always hearing slime under our feet. And I don't know if it has any implication for mob pathfinding as well, which could, you know, make things fiddly. That is too far. The other idea I had is I was considering using acacia planks to do this. It's obviously a far more vibrant orange, and using shroom lights mixed in to provide light. I actually really like that color combination, so I'll probably use it somewhere, but I just ended up deciding that acacia was just too saturated of a color for the path, because it just draws your eye down all the time, and then you're not actually looking at what we want to be looking at. So I thought that we would start doing jungle instead. Let's get some of this laid out, shall we? Alright, a bit of a path's been laid down. Now for the exciting bit. The bit that I'm most worried about. The first enclosure. Where do we lay that down to do that right? The idea I've had is we're going to go for a little bit of a Jurassic Park look, mixed with a highly themed theme park vibe. So basically we're going to have, well, let's have a look in the old backpack and it'll let us know. The wires that are going to go across, we're going to have a foot of the fence, so I probably should start with that. And then, yes, campfires. We're going to have little mini volcanoes along the fence that are holding it all up together, and they are going to smoke and smolder and hopefully look the part. I've done a test and I've done a drawing on a bit of paper, and it looks doable. It looks pretty good. The only difference is I hadn't quite worked out what I was doing with the path at the time, and that the scale is something that I seem to struggle with in this game, and the scale may be enough to make this difficult, which is a little bit annoying. Basically, I tend to sort of do the go big or go home, and I make them a lot bigger than I think I am. And then it means that when you're using the work, when you're running through the world, things just don't feel right. The scale is wrong, which is then problematic because you just feel tiny. You feel insignificant, which isn't always the feeling you want out of a build. So for this, I'm just going to start by running basically Diplodocus. The catch is Diplodocus is a big animal, so we can do a big enclosure for this one. But we probably want smaller enclosures, and we probably won't even get to fill the valley. And in my head, the valley is too small. That's the battle I'm fighting. That's the fight I'm battling. So I'm going to lay down some of this fence, and you can probably, I assume, watch that in a time lapse, so that when I get back, you can see how it's all going. Wow, okay, wow. we have got the footprint down for the enclosure. It's not too bad. Yes, it's square. Pipe down. It's square. I know. It's square. It'll come round, all right? It'll come round. This will be a nice enclosure, all right? So what we need to do now, the next step is to get our framing pieces in. We need to get our little volcanoes, obviously in each corner, but also just scattered throughout the sort of length. That way we have points we can run our chains to. And then I guess, worst case, Dippy can move in. If Dippy's too big, not busting through the walls yet, perfect. We can throw Dippy in and do the terraforming in a bit, but it is pretty bad. It needs some terraforming. It needs some tender love and care. So let's see if we can get the enclosure built and then get the enclosure kitted out, shall we? Alright, we have all of the volcanoes done around the enclosure. It took a while and a lot of stone. Oops. This is the next thing we need to do, is patch all these holes. If we have a little fly around, you can see that we've got... we could maybe use one or two more. We could maybe use one here, actually. But you can see that we kind of have this structure now that you would believe supports the wires, which is great. We could maybe do something here as well. But for now, I'll leave this stretch. For now, I'll be lazy. I'll leave this and I may tweak that later. This here is an angle, which we obviously can't have chain blocks go at angles in Minecraft. They go at a obviously 90-degree cardinal direction. So I think this being the roundabout here, this can just be a big stone overhang, which in time I will make, because right now I don't know how big or wide the roundabout's going to be. This may need to be pushed back or pushed forward even, or the angle may need to be changed, be more of a circular shape. So I'm not going to finalize the details on that now, but that will be sort of some landscaping down the line as well. And that's what that block is. This big one on the end proved to be a little bit difficult because I wasn't liking how small these ones were, and I may go back and make them bigger. Maybe he can be a bit bigger as well. Just move him more so, like bring him out this way. This here, I'm thinking it had this natural block of terrain here, which I kind of liked. So I'm tempted to make this like a viewing point, like people can go in and have a look without needing to use the bars. Maybe you can borrow a spyglass here and you can like zoom in and look at the animals like down the length of the enclosure. I think that's probably a good idea. I also did the effort of, we'll probably do a better water source. They don't have a lot of water in here. But I have made it like I like to, to keep to my realism. It is open so that there is water circulation back with the river so that it stays clean. You can see that's only half done. Man, this is awesome. The clarity under the water. I can't even remember how I did this. More rain. I am sick of the rain. It's raining in real life as well. So it's very meta. I'm trying to block the sound of the real rain out so that you don't hear it in the microphone, and then you get the visual grossness of this rain here, although you do get to go into light speed, which is pretty cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to patch in all of these holes, these things. And I like to do it double thick just so that, one, if we want to dig and terraform, we're not as likely to just plonk in, but also it is just so handy for preventing mobs from clipping in if they're going to be buggy. And after my experience with the last mod pack where they were clipping through blocks, I'm gonna take the safe route on this one. As some of you may well remember, the old park had a fence style that I really spent a lot of time trying to develop and commit to. And even the new park has, in the new lab, the same infrastructure set up for that same type of fence, which basically, for those who don't know, is a lime green terracotta. Just a hard wall. The idea that it was like go away green like you would see in the Disney parks. And it worked pretty convincingly. I'm a big fan of it. But the catch I had with it... Let's see, can I use the builder's wand to... Oh, wait, if I'm careful, I can. All right, let's do this. The catch I found pretty quick with that is as more and more of that park got built out with the enclosures, I was noticing that we're running around and we have no idea there's dinosaurs even in the park. Because they're all behind walls we can't see them through. And watching other people's playthroughs online, both old and new, I realized that it's something pretty important. That you can see the creatures when you're going up and down paths. Like right now, we can see into that enclosure nice and easy. So that's the main reason we did the change. You could argue, yes, we could do glass, something else, but I don't know. I like this idea of the chains for this particular one. And maybe... I don't know. Maybe we could have another frame to support them, because it does look a little bit unsupported. I'm not sure. We'll play with it, but for now, this is my idea. And the fact that you can see straight through, I think, is really, really good. It's not really impeded very much, particularly with the different elevations. If it's level like this, you kind of have this bar blocking half your view. But being able to look down from this distance is part of the reason I spaced the path back a bit further as well, so that we're not right up against the path, the fence. The chain, I guess, technically it is. It seems to work a lot better. So that's the motivation for why we have changed our style, and we'll probably, for the most part, do, you know, enclosure fences that follow that new design brief, I guess you could say. So we want to be able to see in, we want to be able to appreciate our animals when we are just walking around the park, because the only time we actually go in and view an enclosure like you maybe would in a zoo is if we were doing a tour, which we never even got a chance to do a proper tour, I suppose, because the came to an abrupt end, which is a-okay. Oh, one cleared? No, that's fine. Okay. But yes, so basically we want to be able to see the creatures as we're running down the paths, and it's going to... Look, when we have stuff going on the other side, there may be some buildings going here, being able to run into the buildings, or even just work on the buildings and see the dinosaurs in the paddock is going to be very exciting, and I'm very keen for that. Let's hop across. All right. So, I guess that is your... Is this going to let me... No, that's fine. We can manually place those two. So this is sort of what we're looking at. It's maybe not 100%. I feel like there's something missing from it. If we really wanted to, we could add little electrical lights. We could even add the lights from... We could add these, the little red mini lights. Chuck these on to make it look like the fence is actually powered, possibly. And that it's, you know, running up these... I mean... These are serving a function. These aren't actual volcanoes. In a theme park, this would just be all like smoke and mirrors, quite literally, to make this look quite good. Which is the entire idea of what I wanted to do here. One other thing I've worked out in my test world for this enclosure design is, I'm going to call them Brontosaurus. Oh my goodness. Diplodocus stand at about 5 blocks tall. So the 4 fences plus the 1 block is kind of perfect height if you're level with them. So I might, and that's nice. I don't want to have us be looking down into dinosaur enclosures, because it's technically bad enclosure design nowadays in the real world. But it's also, and the reason for that is because it's intimidating for the animals. But also we have dinosaurs. You want to be able to marvel at the size of them, which means you want them to be like towering above you. Whether it be because they're standing on level ground or because you're doing some tricks so that you're looking at them, you know, up a block, which we can do as well for some enclosures. And I may come back and revise this particular design in time as well, because it's something, you know, it's the first enclosure. We are, you know, we're making a start is what we're doing. And if down the line we want to, we have a more revised or refined vision of how we want things to turn out, then absolutely, I think we should be able to come back and make edits. And to be honest, I think it's a good chance to do more with the park. See, that's good. That's a pretty perfect length there, and I think that's a good length there too. That is a smidgy bit too long. If this one was like here, if the volcano was there, ideal. But that's okay. And see, this is where we're learning, like I was just talking about. Speaking of viewing with different heights too, we can maybe make this actually, we could turn this into a window so you can stand in here and look out at the dinosaurs. That could be quite nice as well. Sleeping bag time. Have a little sleep on the floor. Has anybody else noticed, I've probably discussed this before in videos, it's meant to be the shine and the sheen on the bed, but I can't help but see that it's like, here's your head, there's your little pokey nose through there and your little chin, here's your shoulder and your arm, and then your back kind of curls down, and your feet are like sleeping like a cat. Am I the only one who sees that? I definitely see that in the bed. It's coming together now. It's quite nice seeing the chain and the DNA helix up there side by side, or in the bottom of the screen, I suppose now. That's fun. I like that a lot. Oh, look at how nice it is over there. Look at the lab and the little cottage behind it. Oh man, imagine when we've got it all more like landscaped and built out. Oh, it's gonna be so good. The path from the lab down, unfortunately, well, you can see if we follow this path down through here, the idea is to maybe have it branching off this way, which means that we've got this really dumb, long, spindly path to get up to the lab with not much you can do either side of it. We'll probably fill in some of this land so that it's a bit wider, and we could maybe plonk some small enclosures or something. I don't know. If you have any ideas, let me know, because it was only after I built the lab I looked at it and thought, oh, it may not actually work. The other thing actually we need to consider, because it's just about to become extremely important, is as we build this wall, how we're going to get in and out of the enclosure. So we can just, I mean, in the meantime, we can just dig a hole out, and that's fine. But we probably want to think of our proper access, as well as, I guess, like a law reason for why we access that way. So what I mean by that is, if we have just a little door that, you know, staff walk into, or us, we're the only staff member here, is there a reason we've only got it that small? Are we anticipating that we, like, did we airdrop in the dinosaurs, which we, well, actually, that's another point. I'm going to need to tear a hole in the wall to get Dippy down here. The access point, right? How would we actually service this if this was a real park? If this enclosure was in real life, it's not likely somebody's going to be walking in by foot through a small door, dragging in a whole bunch of browse to feed these animals. It's more than likely going to be treated like sort of an African Serengeti enclosure, where they are driving in a Jeep and loading a bunch of... Oh, hey, we missed one of the chains. Oh, that's going to be annoying. Where, you know, yeah, do we have something big enough for you to be able to drive a Jeep in? Probably. Do we have Jeeps in the mod? No. Should we? Maybe. I had this thought only like a couple of days ago that maybe I should mod some vehicles in. I suppose I just need to check I've actually got the entity model rendering bug fixed, which I think I fixed that. I haven't fixed the weird streaky black lines when I walk through the lab. I think that's the Spinosaurus skeleton still, I think. And I think I might break that down and place it again, see if that fixes it. Righto, we have officially got the walls up. I think technically at this point, we could bring Dippy in. Dippy can come in. Have I got, I have these. And see, here's the thing now. How am I getting in and out? If I had ender pearls, it'd be fantastic. I need so many ender pearls, although I need ender pearls for the storage system to improve the remote access, because we're out of range. And I also need them for the waystones to teleport around, because I want to add waystones to more spots. I want one in the lab, for sure. So I need to find a way to farm ender pearls. We might need to go to the end, which I wasn't planning on doing, only in the sense of that's a very vanilla Minecraft thing to do. And there's lots of that on the internet. We don't need to recap it here as well. But I imagine you guys probably actually want to see it if that does end up happening. So let me know in the comments. I'll put it this way. I need to go to the end at some point. Just the same way as I think I need to get a beacon at some point, just to make it quicker and more time effective for me as a living human being in the real world to gather resources and get the videos out to you at a reasonable pace. We'll also probably want to go to the nether to the end to get ender pearls, or set up an ender pearl farm. Let me know if you would be interested in seeing that. Alright, well, from here... Gee, I think from here we need a terraform still, but I think we should bring down Dippy before Dippy gets too big. So let's go and bring Dippy down, shall we? Alright, Dippy, where are you? It's time to come to your new home. I think you're on this side. Let's see how big you are, Dippy. Way! Hello! Oh, that's very cool. That's pretty cool. You're very cute. Yeah, look, you're going outside. You are huge. You don't fit in this anymore. I don't think you're full grown either. Let's have a look. Dinopedia. That will let us know. And while we're in here, let's deposit all this junk. Actually, we have more in the backpack we can deposit as well. Just junk. That other stuff I might need, so I'll leave that in there for now in case we notice any holes down there. But Dippy, let's have a look. Hello, Dippy. You are 12. I don't know when you get to full size. You follow a stick. I might need to get a stick. It's not very immersive, but I do wonder. Oh, gee, look at me carrying a Diplodocus in my little fishing net over my shoulder. My little hobo sack. Alright, there's a word for that. I don't know what it's called. Alright, well, that's not very immersive. So let's bring you down the way we're meant to bring you down. For the sake of immersion. See that stupid line? I need to fix that. Dippy, you're staying, you're following, you're wandering. How about you follow, Dippy? Follow me. I don't know how many blocks you need to stand on, but surely that's enough. Now, I don't know how big your hitbox is. I really have no idea. Are you going to follow me through here? Come on. Oh, you're not full grown yet. Come on, Dippy. You can do it. Come on, buddy. Oh, sorry, pal. Oh, no. Please love me still. His health's become a really small fraction. He's still in a reasonably good mood. Here, you can get some, here. Why don't you follow me? Come on, follow. There we go. There we go. How cool's that? Now, you just hang tight there. Because I think you should just still hang around in an attempt to follow me. And Dippy. Don't stray now. You're a prehistoric animal. Ornate grey concrete. That's probably what was down here. Oh, Dippy. No, no, Dippy, you teleported. Oh, that's not so fun and immersive, is it now? Dinosaur loose in the lab. It's a bit crazy to see, isn't it? You can make it out here. Hello, here you are. All right, you want to come down into your enclosure? Look, it is turning nighttime. Don't crush me if I'm in the sleeping bag, all right? Very cute. So, I guess while we're walking down, we can ponder how we want to set up the enclosure. We certainly have a few different options for our internal sort of decoration. I suppose what comes to me is a creek bed. Whether it be dry or active, I don't know. But that's probably not super interesting. We could also do a giant tree, like a really big tree. But these guys, well, I suppose they would be happy with that. But they're a very long, sort of whippy animal. You know, growing up, you always see those documentaries where they have the whip-like tail, they'll crack and break the barrier of sound. But, oops, sorry, mate. But, I think that's actually been disproved nowadays. But it still paints this picture that these guys function in a very open, barren environment. So that they could, swing their tail around in defense, whether it be to, like, deafen other animals or not. Alright, Dippy, how are we going to get you in here? You want to come in through this side here? Come on, pal. Alright, mate. Come on. Hey, there we are. Alrighty, Dippy's in the new enclosure. How good's this? We have, well, feels wrong to call you the first dinosaur. You're Dippy. You are Dippy. Dippy is in your his enclosure. It's not finalized. Dippy gets to hang out with us while we're in here, you know, renovating stuff, making it nice. Here you go. Wandering. Enjoy. Let me just quickly, you know, lock up. Got a gaping big hole in the wall. Oh, look at that. That is something special, isn't it? That's nice. That is amazing. All right. I just want to jump out and have a look, so I can show you guys what it looks like. See, this is what we're looking at. How good. How good. All right, and Dippy's going to get even bigger. Hello. So this is something that real world zoos will do as well. You won't ever be able to just... Hi. You won't ever just be able to be up close to an animal if it's a dangerous animal and stick your arm straight through. Whether it be double fenced, side-by-sides that you can't stick anything through, or more than likely it's double fenced with the distance that you can't reach over and get in. Which is something we tried to replicate here as well. Just it's the little principle details that when you, I suppose, remember to put them in, make the difference of what makes a build feel real and better and lived in and believed. That's my opinion, I suppose, at least. Except for this clipping business. We can't obviously avoid that. But very, very cool, right? Dippy's down here now. We just need to work out what Dippy is going to have in here. So we could put a giant tree in the middle. Symmetrical enclosures are boring. This is this is technically a symmetrical enclosure. It's a rectangle. We can try and break... We can either... Let me get my thoughts in order here. We can do one of two things. We embrace the orderly nature of it. We put a big, large symmetrical tree in the middle. We just sort of go, this is a symmetrical enclosure for the sake of it being one of the first in the park and being a, I guess you could say, a core enclosure that we build around from. And maybe down the line we can, you know, bend out some walls. I don't know. Or we could have the internal be... Like, you know, we could decorate inside here to not be symmetrical, to be more natural. But I suppose it just runs the risk of making the whole thing look more like it's in a box. Alright, so next thing's next. We obviously need to decorate this enclosure. We need to make things interesting. It sounds like a lot of work, and it sounds like this episode is already running pretty long. So I think you guys, for making it this far into the video, are going to get a pretty punchy little time lapse. Alright, if you enjoyed that, make sure you check out the creator of that piece of music over on SoundCloud, Ruthless Foot. He's a friend of mine in real life. He makes lots of very good music, including the one at the very start of this video. So go and check it out. I'm sure he would appreciate it. So, we have now our enclosure mostly finished. It's not 100%, I know, and that's fine. We want to have reasons to come back and keep working on our old projects. But let's do a rundown of what we have here today. Right, you can see we've kind of got it broken into a few different sort of areas. This main area, right, is kind of like the idea behind this. The idea behind this main dusty area is if you close your eyes and you think about these long Diplodocus, right, with these long whip-like tails and necks, what is the landscape they would have lived in? Maybe not very tall with its trees, maybe very open, so they could have these very long and flowy body plans. So I came up with this idea for this, like, sort of, not dust bowl, but dry savanna sort of area. Because originally, Diplodocus was going to be in the savanna of the old park. We've also got these low, short, sort of custom trees. I thought of that would also naturally probably be their food source. These are probably due to have a few different leaves mixed in, looking at them now, but that's fine. We can do this next episode or between takes. These extra little trees in the very end, the Zamites, and I can't even remember what these are called, I think really what made the difference for this enclosure. These have breathed a lot of life into it, and there's something that you get through the plant fossils, which we get from our villagers in the lab. In the back, we have adopted this wetter area. It gives a nice bit of height variation to the enclosure. So we've got this sort of semi-backdrop area, but it's not uniform all the way through. It's like this little postcard chunk we've got here. This is just the palm trees from Fossils and Archaeology, as well as a mix of bamboo, and using that little bit of natural river we have in the back as another potential drinking source. Over here, we've got more of just the plain plains. Dippy seems to spend a lot of time in this front corner, so I thought I'd make it nice and lush and sort of green, and like it's lots of grass, nice and comfortable for him to lie down in. Because who knows, when we get some friends in here, they may decide to group together with somewhere else. And then the last little patch of this enclosure is going to be this side area here. Custom tree. It didn't end up being quite how I envisioned, but that's fine. That's how trees are. They're organic. Once again, this is uniform, and it sort of blocks. It was a rough and dirty cut. I'm trying to get the video out to you guys. It's been a few weeks. This down here is, I guess, now our new sort of main wallowing area. I'm going to double down on this idea of having the waterfall flow down into this. I quite like that. And it's sort of adding that height variation I think the enclosure needed, because it was all the one sort of scale. Our trees sort of casting over some shade into this pond, and they can come in and around. The other thing that is probably of note is we have access points. So I have actually put one now down here because I was needing them to get in and out. This is actually naturally where the villager path was. I wanted to make it central on the outside, but ultimately this doesn't matter. This is getting it redone. On the inside, that just felt like the right spot for the door, at least for now. This may change. This may even become a wide vehicle access door that runs underneath our main path one day when we have that set up. Down this other end of the enclosure, we have got another access door that is a little bit nicer, a little bit more permanent. It could still change, but just here. Basically, this rock that we're going to have is this viewing building that's obscured into the side of the natural rock. I thought it would make sense to have an access point for staff through here that looked a bit more official. Just a little quick and easy access glass gate, even if it's just to clean the glass window in the front of the viewing that we will eventually have. Like all good enclosures, you want the main outside door, and then you want to be able to have a second door. This airlock system is good for all sorts of reasons. It's more realistic. It is good quarantine. It's good protection of staff and guests, because if somebody's mucking around out here and that door happens to malfunction, you're not straight into the enclosure. You have a second door. A lot of zoos are a bit like that in the real world. So yeah, that's that. We've got... It's really bugging me now that I don't have a second leaf color on these. Oh my goodness. I might mix in a savanna leaf. Acacia leaf? How's that going to look? Leaves. Acacia leaves. These ones. Mixed with the oak. I like that a lot. I will be doing that as soon as this is done. Now, one other thing as well. As I was making this, I had this big flat open area in the middle that I was wanting to do, but it just was missing something. This is like the main focal attraction point of this enclosure. It's the first bit of enclosure you see in the whole park. It's also such a long stretch of both viewing window, because we don't have that volcano block here, but it's just off the bulk of the enclosure. It needed something more. And in looking around and doing some research online, well, credit where credit's due, I discovered a lovely little YouTuber called Fern, who is making some Fossils and Archaeology Revival Genesis videos as well. And he made a video about what he does when he wants to make his enclosures. And in that video, he just happened to make this recreation of the tall herbivore feeder from Jurassic World Evolution. And bingo. As soon as I saw that, I was like, that's what I need. So it's not block for block. It's very similar. I think I'm going to change out the base to be stone bricks, because mine's a little bit more top heavy, I think, than his. And these leaves, if you're wondering, This is actually, if you still touch the side of these trees, you get these big leafy leaves you can place on solid blocks like the moss. So yeah, we've got this. Thank you so much for Fern. Your suggestion in your video is fantastic. I suggest everybody else goes out and checks their channel out. It is very, very good, the survival series. I'm quite jealous of the world they have. It's one of the reasons I want to start pumping mine out a bit more, so I've got more of a world as opposed to a couple of builds in a vanilla-ish world. All right. It's bugging me, these leaves. Let's change them out real quick. You can't tell I've done diddly squat to these trees. This acacia's useless. All right, well. Acacia doesn't do much, but that's fine. Dippy still seems very happy. Dippy, do not smoke the volcano smoke. Oh my goodness, you're a bad influence for the rest of the park. It's pretty cool, though. I'm pretty chuffed. I'm pretty happy with this enclosure. It's not 100%, like I said. We'll be working more in the future. But for today, you can get a pretty good idea of what I want to be doing in this area. Plans for next episode? Well, probably going to be this market area. We're going to get the whole world feeling like a world within the next couple episodes. Everything's going to be connecting up nicely, I think. And it's not going to feel like a couple of build concept episodes. It's going to hopefully feel like a theme park. Woohoo! All right. So, if you're keen for that, make sure to check out the next one. And in the meantime, I'll catch you then. Alrighty. Bye-bye.